How then do you introduce the leading edge of man's highest technologies, embodied in the single package of a combat airplane, to one of the world's still developing nations that has moved in our own generation from the old pastoral traditions to the urbanization and the industrialization that inevitably produce rapid change and cultural shock? Iran, 7,000 miles from the United States, sits at the crossroads of different and differing nations. To her east, the Indian subcontinent. To her west, the Arab world. To her north, the Soviet Union. To her south, the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean. These warm waters Russia has coveted since the days of the Tsar. Iran's oil pays for her rapid urbanization and industrialization. But neither Iran nor any other country can buy high technology with money alone. It must also invest her human capital in the specific training and eventual understanding that technology imposes. And that is why the Grumman Aerospace Corporation, designer and manufacturer of the F-14, nicknamed the Tomcat, faced a far bigger task than simply delivering the airplanes and support equipment Iran had ordered. It also faced the training challenge. And Grumman was further contracted by the United States government itself to provide the design and construction criteria for the facilities the new airplanes would need in Iran. This involved, first of all, a new Iranian air base that was to rise from scratch in toto from the desert floor itself, just outside the major city of Isfahan, in the center of Iran, as well as modifications and improvements to existing air bases in Tehran and Shiraz. This would mean, in time, truly enormous air defense logistics, involving the delivery of 80 F-14s and huge quantities of supporting hardware and training equipment, certain major modifications to the airplanes themselves by Grumman personnel, and many other endeavors to support the program. It would all mean, in a matter of months, the installation of truly up-to-date facilities for Iran's air defense, hangars and supply depots, operation, maintenance, and training facilities at various bases. The contract also called on Grumman to oversee the design and construction of housing, indeed of entire communities, not only for the Grumman people who would train the Iranian Air Force in the uses of the F-14, but also for all U.S. contractors, for certain U.S. government personnel, and indeed even for some non-U.S. personnel and contractors participating in the F-14 program. It was a massive challenge that was rapid in the fulfilling. The work began in the spring of 1975. The Grumman families moved into leased houses and hotels in the city of Isfahan while construction was underway. They began moving into the newly built permanent housing within 6 months after construction began. But as in new homes everywhere, the new residents had a lot of little things to do to put everything in ship-shape order. For some time, the new residents lived amid the continuing construction activities, preparing the way for more new residents. Everything from home building to road laying, from utilities trenches to landscaping. But it all came together. The housing finally contained every stick of furniture, every household appliance, even the last touch of furnishing down to the silverware and ice buckets that one could reasonably expect in the American lifestyle of the mid-1970s in America itself. Grumman, as prime manager of the construction, worked with the government of Iran and with Iranian contractors to create 2 sizable communities. Khane-Isfahan, just northwest of the great Iranian city, and Shahin Shar, 5 miles to the north. Both of these communities were built by Iranians to American specifications. They would revert to the Iranian government after the Americans completed their mission and returned home. In the meantime, under Grumman's supervision and overall management, these tiny corners of a foreign field took on the coloration of American suburbia. The landscaped homes, the schools and the stores. playing fields. Even a teenage club and a swimming pool. The schools themselves, from kindergarten through high school, had certified American teachers with experience in the United States as well as abroad. Iran has long been a mingling ground of peoples from the Christian West as from the other lands of the Islamic East, especially in this proud and glorious ancient capital, Isfahan. The Grumman people felt an honest fascination before this rich and ancient culture that flourished long before the Christian era, this Persia that is now Iran.
لویس again. آقای لویس، شما کجا زندگی میکنید؟
من اصفهان زندگی میکنم.
Very good.
Their father is a farmer.
Their father there.
No translation. English. Louder.
There always has been, and perhaps always will be, a lot for East and West to learn about one another. But there is no greater bond than the shared interests and aspirations toward the better life through the work of the world.
Excellent.
Iranians and Americans came to know and to like one another, perhaps to the surprise of both. Both of our peoples, we all came to discover, are well worth knowing, and a little cultural shock is good for anyone.
I just got a phone call from Mrs. White out in Hazar Jarib on Manny Street. With a rainstorm last night, they've had extensive damage to the house. So I would like to go over there and evaluate the damage, but I want to meet the landlord there. Yeah. Would you call him up, please, and see if he can meet us there?
Yes, sir. Very good.
الو آدم خواهش کنم هر چه زتاتش بیارین اونجا من آقای بسترم میریم شما فکر کنید که بتونی بیان
Grumman responsibilities cover just about every phase of residential life and leisure in both communities. From basic utilities, transportation, communication, medicine, education, and recreation, to the ongoing liaison with Iranian businesses and government that made for a smooth-running operation. But the prime Grumman support responsibility was the detailed, painstaking creation of a corps of trained Iranian personnel who would, in time, become the masters of the high-technology airplane, even though most of them had only a high school education and no particular background in any of the various technologies that come together in the F-14.
In the manual mode.